Imagine competing in a highly visible contest where the entire nation is watching you and you lose twice. What would you do in that situation? It would be pretty easy to give up, wouldn't it? Well, today's leadership example used what she learned in that scenario as fuel for her resolve, which is what we're going to talk about today on Boss Beat, a latte of leadership for those seeking to be and build better bosses in business. I'm Ben, and yes, I do like my bees. Today's example is Reshma Saujani. She's the daughter of immigrant refugees from Uganda. She ran for Congress twice and lost twice. However, rather than getting down on herself and giving up, Saujani says that taught her that she could be brave, and she used it to fuel her passion. You see, while campaigning for those political positions, Saujani visited a lot of schools. While doing that, she saw virtually no girls in the computer science classrooms. She saw that as a major problem and bought the domain girlswhocode.com, even though she'd never really been a programmer before. She recruited 20 girls for her first class, where she says she was intentional about who she chose so that it looked the way she felt an American classroom should look. From that first class of 20 students, the passion grew into a national and now global nonprofit that is focused on closing the gender gap in technology. As she led the growth of Girls Who Code, Reshma faced many challenges. First, she faced the challenge of a lack of initial support. You see, when Saujani started Girls Who Code, she encountered skepticism and a lack of support from both potential funders and the tech industry in general. Many couldn't see the vision she had or the impact her work could make. The tech industry was, and really still is, male-dominated. Therefore, convincing stakeholders of the importance of her mission was a significant challenge. Second, she faced a challenge in scaling the initiative. As Girls Who Code began to grow, Saujani faced the challenge of scaling the program nationally and later globally. Expanding the initiative required not just financial resources, but also finding and training instructors, developing curriculum, and forging partnerships with tech companies and schools, all while ensuring the quality and impact of the program remained high. Third, breaking the gender stereotypes. Saujani has worked tirelessly against entrenched gender stereotypes in STEM. Convincing parents, educators, and sometimes even the girls themselves that computer science and technology are fields where they belong and can excel has been an ongoing challenge. This effort required changing perceptions and fighting societal norms that often dissuade girls from pursuing interests in these areas. Fourth, building an inclusive culture. Another challenge that Saujani faced was creating spaces within the tech industry that are not only welcoming to women, but also promote their growth and leadership. This includes advocating for policies and practices within tech companies that support diversity and inclusion, a task that involves changing corporate cultures and values. And if you've ever tried to change corporate cultures and values, you know it's not an easy task. Fifth, advocacy and policy change. Saujani also has engaged in advocacy to promote education policy changes that support computer science education for all students, particularly girls. This work involves navigating complex political landscapes, persuading policymakers, and mobilizing community support for educational reform. The last key point I want to make that Saujani faced a big challenge in was personal sacrifices. On a personal level, like many leaders and entrepreneurs, Saujani has spoken about the sacrifices and the balance required to pursue her passion for Girls Who Code while managing personal responsibilities. The journey of building a nonprofit from the ground up involves long hours, financial uncertainty, and the constant challenge of maintaining personal well-being. From the lessons she learned as a failed politician, through all those challenges, Saujani remained very resolute. Today, Girls Who Code has benefited over 580,000 students. Over half of those girls come from historically underrepresented groups in technology, the Black, Latina, and low-income communities. And she's not done yet. Reshma also founded and now currently leads Moms First, a movement fighting to get moms the support they deserve, like childcare, paid leave, and equal pay. Every weekday when we have an episode of Boss Beat, we cover one of the 7 core principles and give you the supporting attributes. Today, I'd like to give you 2 supporting attributes for the principle of Resolute. First, being courageous and taking decisive action. Look, being courageous doesn't necessarily mean running into a burning fire. Instead, it often means getting knocked down again and again and again, yet getting back up and trying again for what you believe. The second attribute is pioneering. If it's not anything new, it doesn't take a leader to achieve it. You are who you are and where you are with what you have for a reason, so you can pioneer the change that you envision. As you move forward today, here's a quote from Reshma to hopefully give you a little inspiration. Reshma says, "I've never met another entrepreneur who had a painless path to success. Everyone who tries to bring new ideas to the world is tested. And so will you be tested." Which brings us to the 2 questions you can use moving forward today as you seek to be and build better boss behaviors in yourself and in your team. First, what new ideas are you bringing to the world? And therefore, what tests are you facing for your new ideas? Each weekday on Boss Beat, we cover one of the 7 core principles of the acronym model of servant leadership. They're populating on your screen now: selflessness, empathy, resolve, virtuousness, authenticity, nonpartisanship, and thoroughness. Why do we use the acronym model of servant leadership? Because there are dozens and dozens of great leadership books that you can use to help you be and build better bosses in your business. The problem is most of them are based on a single person's worldview, one person's lived experience, which can be very helpful. But we've gone through dozens of those books over 2 decades and distilled them down to these 7 core principles and attributes so that you know the advice you get here is tried and true, practical, and applicable for your real-world environments. If you like this sort of training, please check out modernservantleader.com. There you will find gobs of free resources as well as courses I teach with a very similar flavor of being very practical and applicable. I'm Ben Lichtenwalner. Until next time, keep serving, my friends.